Hello and welcome to today's episode of Oboe Winfrey. My guest is Catherine Hunker, and Catherine's the leader of the Irish Chamber Orchestra, and regular viewers will know that Catherine appears on the Oboe Winfrey show quite a lot, usually to update us about what's happening and what's coming up. But this time I wanted to talk to Catherine about what it's like being the leader of the Irish Chamber Orchestra. So Catherine, hello, how are you?
Hello, Matthew.
Are you okay?
I'm very well, thank you, and
Good.
very, very glad to be back.
Of course, yes, who wouldn't be, in fact? So this business of being a leader, I'm interested to know a little bit more about it, because obviously as I was playing the second oboe, I don't really know, I mean, I kind of know what you do, but are you just like the best violinist, or what actually exactly does the job mean?
Well, it's a funny one because it's a lot of things. But the word leader it's a funny word as well, isn't it? So in Ireland we say leader. Some countries say concertmaster. It's all the same job. But my job is, and I found this out really on the job, many, many, many things. So it's partly that I should probably have practiced my violin and be in good shape on the violin.
What, historically or
at the
generally?
time, every day. Every
Okay.
time I come into work, I need to be on it with the violin. I don't want to be rusty.
Okay, yeah.
And when it says solo in the part, that's me.
Okay, right.
Yeah, and that can be just a line, and it can be a page, and it can be a whole piece.
Okay, yeah.
So I need to be up for the possibility of being heard.
Okay, being heard on your own.
Yes, being heard on
okay.
my own. And then another part of the job is that I strongly encourage my section, the other fiddlers and the orchestra as a whole, to play their best. So that can be done in a million different ways. So hopefully I do it by playing well myself and inspiring people on a good day. As well, I do it with suggestions in rehearsal. And
Like sort of verbal suggestions.
yes, how about we try this?
Okay, yeah.
Another thing I do is try to keep the atmosphere in the rehearsal absolutely excellent.
Okay. And tell me
yeah.
about that. What do you mean excellent? Like, what's a good rehearsal atmosphere?
Well, this is something that I believe very strongly, is that people can't work when they're terrified or when there's a bad atmosphere. And particularly in the arts, we can't create something if we all feel like we're being stabbed in the back.
Right.
So
okay.
it's up to me to make sure that there needs to be a little humour in the room, and the ICO couldn't be better at that. But not too much, because if we're all like belly laughing our way through the rehearsal, we won't get much done. So there's just making sure there's a mixture. Okay, quiet, please, and then letting a joke happen. Just very, very, not in a controlling way. I hope my colleagues would agree, but just carefully overseeing the vibe in the room. And if it's not good, just correcting that in the quickest way possible. You know, just I'm the link between what's happening in the room and the conductor and the outside world.
And with the Irish Chamber Orchestra, you talk about humour in the room.
Yes.
And this kind of, I don't know how you'd say it really. It's a really unique way of working. My experience is that it's almost something very special, and something that I really, really cherish and value.
Yeah.
Because it isn't like that anywhere else that I work.
Well, I think that it's easier to, I mean, we're basically, when we get together for those days of rehearsal, we're learning as quick as we can. I think it's much easier to learn when there's lightness. And when when everybody's worried about messing up, then it won't happen as quickly.
Yeah.
So I think that it can be a very serious way of working to crack the occasional joke. I don't mean I'm cracking the jokes. There are some wonderful jokesters in the group, as you know.
No.
I'm not going to mention them by name.
Louis.
Mark, Kian. But there are some great one-liners out there.
Yeah.
And it can just be, you know, we're doing something quite intense and physical, and I love sometimes just break it.
Absolutely, yeah.
But then come back.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and in terms of a kind of almost like a legacy of a way of working, I feel really strongly that I want to be part of preserving this way of working. And I know you're involved in the Sing Out with Strings a little bit and with the MA. And is that something that you're conscious of?
Yeah, well, I think it's something, occasionally I speak about it with my colleagues, as we're doing now, but it's a sort of understanding amongst us all that we need to preserve this.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you find a place as an artist where you can be free and human and people are kind to each other, then a lot will come out of that. So I'd see that as a big part of my role, is making sure that we keep that. And it's very subtle. I feel like I almost shouldn't mention it. But let's not become one of those orchestras where we don't support each other. Let's keep that kindness, and I'm going to move on at some point. We all are. Hopefully whoever comes next will be able to inherit that.
Catherine Hunker, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.